Alright, alright. I think I'm live. Alright. So, what's up, warriors? This is exercise 3 live stream week 160. And yeah, hope everybody had a great week with a lot of grinding. And yeah, hello to Alex in the chat. Well, so far it's only Alex, but that's okay. And we have some submissions to go through. We have 12 submissions, which is a nice number. Perfect. Okay, hello also to Ravi in the chat. And yeah, let's get into the submissions. Yeah, this music really loud today. All right. Okay. My throat hurts a little bit today. I don't know why. So I need to drink a lot of water. Okay, first up we have Previsha. So let's see, what are they on? Oh, and also hello to Lion. Hello to Lucky May. So yeah, hope you guys had a great week. Okay, well, why is it taking so long? Is my PC like about to die or something? Okay. So, Pravisha says, hi Julia, hope you're well. Thank you, I actually am. Last live stream you said I needed to fix the eyes of the 3/4 view, so I'm hoping everything is correct this week and I can move on to the next level. Let me know what you think. Kind regards, Pravisha. Okay. So that was last live stream, and like both this one and this one are pretty good in terms of like proportions and like features. Even the eyes are kind of okay, but pretty like a lot of trouble with this 3/4 eyes in here. Okay, so we have this one. And man, I think you really understand those features, like the mouth and the nose, like so well. Those are like really greatly executed. I still feel like there's like some issues with the eyes. I think we're gonna talk about it in a second. So this is the front. This is 3/4, and yeah, definitely I can see some work is needed for the eyes. Even in here, yeah. So I think what I want to like explain to you, Pravisha, is a little bit about the iris and how do we know what kind of shape we should draw, because like everybody knows that if a kid like draws like an eye, they're gonna do something like this, and it's kind of creepy because like you see the entire eyeball and stuff. So this is kind of what everybody has engraved in their mind when they're like about to like draw an iris. Like this is just like a circle and stuff. But what you have to keep in mind while drawing the iris is first you have to define the 3 lines for the eye. Okay, so we have the 3 line for this guy, which would be this. Okay, and then we have also like the bottom line, like this. Okay, and what's really important when thinking about how to draw the iris is to think about how the iris is being hidden away by the top eyelid. So this is top eyelid, and like if you like not like squint your eyes, but if you just like close them a little bit, you're gonna like hide a little bit of this iris. So if the iris is like a circle and we see like a portion of it, so the entire circle for this would probably be something like this if we were to do like the entire iris. But we only see this portion in blue, that's what we see, you know, like little, like not this and not even that, because that's hidden away. So that's what you see, and that's a really like specific shape that you have to like keep in mind. So literally the iris is like, I don't know like what color should I use, but the iris in this case, like I'm gonna draw it on the side, is like if we have the three lines like this, this and that, the iris, also like the bottom one in here, the iris, you're not gonna see like the entire circle like this, because that's what causes for people to look crazy, and that's a little bit how you do it, right? But instead what you draw is you only draw the part in green. So you draw this and you draw that, and with that you get an eye that actually resembles the reference a lot, right? Because we kept in mind all the proportions of the three lines, right? We kept in mind the size of the iris, and we have in mind that there is still a bit of this iris, what we don't see, but we are focused on drawing just what we can see. So we're just focused on drawing the shape that actually this eye is making, okay? And this is obviously not a perfect eye because I literally did it in a few brush strokes and stuff. But that should give you like the idea of like what am I thinking about when I'm drawing my iris. And if we're gonna make the same analysis on this eye in here, so let's say again with pink, we're gonna finish this iris, assuming that this is like kind of neutral, so the iris is gonna be circular. So your like if this is like the circle, so roughly somewhere like here, that would be kind of like what you're having if we're gonna just draw like a circle, like continue your circle. So see how yours is like literally like touching the top of the eyelid, whereas on the reference, if you continue it, it's like going way back. It's like so much, like almost like half of it's like hidden away by like eyelids and stuff. So that's super important to understand while drawing eyes. So I'm gonna save it for the Discord, and I really hope that will help you, Previsha, and like everybody else struggling with the irises, because that's the science behind it, you know? Like there's nothing to wing here. Like you think about the entire circle, and then you think what part of the circle is actually visible, okay? So that's, hopefully that explains it. Okay, so that would be it. And then I also have like this example from the Discord that I wanted to kind of compare to. I think you have like great features, like look, like nose and mouth are like super like on point, Previsha, but really the eyes is where like the biggest difference, you can like see the biggest difference, right? So it's really like thinking about the shapes on the reference and copying it really well, okay? It's also a little bit the eyebrows, like I feel like you could use some subtlety because they feel a little bit like angular right now, and you know, you can like introduce like a subtle curve at the bottom, and really important, showing this eyebrow like wrapping around with like a subtle curve in here. So I'm gonna save this to the Discord as well. And yeah, like I still think, Previsha, like I think you have great features like overall. So maybe the move for next week would be to go onto the Discord and look at lesson 3 server, yeah, lesson 3 channel, And some time ago, Larry did like those separate studies for the eyes, and I think that's something that you can try doing, like literally studying those or like making some of your own. But you don't have really trouble with anything, but the eyes need some work. So you can try doing that, and we will see where it goes. But as I said, you have like great noses, great silhouette, great proportions. You just need to understand a little bit more about breaking down the eyes into like 3 lines and then like making the irises match the reference. So I hope that helps. So work on them eyes, and I will see you next week. Okay, great job. Okay, next up we have Austin. And Austin says, only 2 this week. Have a great day. Okay, thank you. Have a great too. Okay, so this was like last week, and they were like kind of getting there. Okay, and then this is this week's front. Yeah, and I think this front is really, really good. Austin, just one thing to be careful, like, see like this residue kind of happening in here. Like your lines looking in here kind of messy. So I would like clean this up. Like you don't want to have any messiness in your lines because it's gonna be really harmful for your shading. Okay, so be careful with that. Other than that, you could probably use some build-up for the irises. I'm using from brush. Okay, so a little bit, even more. I feel like you're already doing it, but you can do even more. So, but yeah, that's a great front-facing angle. And then you have this one, which I overpainted because, again, I feel like the design is actually really, really good. But first of all, you're missing the jacket. And second of all, like this eye was a little too small, so I made it bigger. And again, like you have some problem, Austin, with like building up your lines. Like you're keeping them too faded. So don't be afraid to go over your lines a little bit. But with that being said, I think those are like really like small things. So I think you can maybe try out some lesson 4. But I want you to keep working on your line weight. Like this is not like a pass with like a check. I think you're just like 80% there. Like I think it's enough to try out some shading, but you need to keep working on your sketches, right? So if this is like your base now, I want you to take your sketches to at least like this. So like taking care of like subtleties, taking care of like capturing the jaw, you know, making sure the eyes are not too small, working on the build-up of your lines, cleaning them up, that kind of stuff. But overall, I think it's pretty good. So try some lesson 4, and yeah, keep going, keep working on your sketches. It's a never-ending struggle, okay? So great job, congrats, Austin. Great job. I will not see you next week. But remember, you can always come back here, so be careful. Okay. Next up, we have Marquise. Okay, and Marquise says, what's up, Julia? Last week you said my 3/4 are good and to work on my front view. Here is the front view I did. Hope it's fine. Thanks. Okay, so that was 3 weeks ago. Okay, and that was 2 weeks ago. Pretty good. Okay, and that was last week. Also pretty good, but a little weird with the eyes. And this is this week. Yeah, and I feel like in here you're gonna need a little bit more work. I mean, this is a challenging reference, so I kind of don't blame you that much. But in cases like this, when the guy is kind of like doing like a weird expression, and like in here you see like the bottom of the iris, and in here you don't because he's like squinting this eye but not this eye. I think it's really, really important kind of bring them closer together, especially since this is a front. So we want it to be like as symmetrical as we can. So this is like kind of my overpaint. Oh my god, I'm sorry. So you had like some small proportion issues, like the nose was just like a little bit too wide, and you like push the bottom plane to be too much. Like if you look at the reference, his bottom plane, like here's like this really like pronounced like ball of the nose. So his bottom plane is actually like somewhere around here, kind of like I did it, right? And what you're saying with this one, you're telling me that he has like this is still dark, like why is it like not changing? Yeah, like if you were to do it like this, you're showing me that he has like this kind of nose, which is a nose, but it's like a different nose. So it's really important to like observe a little bit like the form of the nose when making the decisions, okay? So I think you kind of missed that even in the tracing. So the tracing in here would be like the bowl is a little bit more like this, because you have to look a little bit at like the light and shadow. Okay, so I changed that. And also if you do like those little measurements that I always do in here, I think that his nose was a little bit too wide, as you can see. So I made his nose like, again, like I did this bottom plane smaller, and I made it overall smaller because your nose was a little bit too big. And then on the other hand, for the lips, you did the opposite. You kind of squished them so they were a little bit smaller, and they just feel a little bit longer on the reference. So those are like what we call the subtleties. Those are like the hardest things to get in like lesson 3, but with enough practice, I think you can get it too. It's just about like being really careful and doing those sort of measurements like a maniac. So like you literally like, you know, after every stage you like check, is my nose like correct size? Okay, it is, chill, you know. And you do the same with the lips. And then for the eyes, as I said, like if they're asymmetrical, and by asymmetrical I mean that if you see like an iris, like the bottom of the iris in here, whereas in here it's kind of like this shape, you kind of like pick and you stick with one shape. So in my case, I picked this shape from this eye, and I tried to match this eye to also have like a similar vibe, okay? So that's what I did. And as you can see, he looks a little bit more neutral this way. So that would be the changes. I know it's a lot, Marquise, but I think like now, like you have like great bases. Now it's really the time to start hammering down on like those subtleties, okay? So I think you're doing really good. I think it's definitely better than last week. But I think you just need to like push your work into like this level, okay? So double check the proportions, you know, make sure that you're like paying attention to the specific features of the person. And then lastly, like this is just a really hard case for eyes, but that's how you handle it, okay? So great job, Marquise. Keep going, really good job. Hope that helps. All right. Next up we have Elsie. Okay, and Elsie says, "Hi, Julia. I hope you have a great day." Thank you so much. I hope you have a great day too. Oh, actually, let me look at the chat. Okay, we have Sora. Lion says, "Hope you having great week as well." Thank you so much. And Lion says, "Drawing irises have been haunting me in my dreams lately. LOL." Well, that's a little bit scary, but it's okay. You know, I have like art related dreams too, and I'm always scared. Okay, and everybody's saying congrats to Austin, and Lion and May are saying bless you to me because I sneezed like 5 minutes ago. Okay, but let's look at Elsie's submissions. And Elsie says that last week I said to take care with the direction of the eyeballs and the shape of the nose. I have no questions this week. Thank you. Okay. So that was last week. Yeah, pretty cool, but working a little bit on the subtlety of the nose. This one was really good though. Okay. And this week we have this one. And I think it's definitely better in terms of like this nose feels much more like this nose. Oh my god, my allergy is killing me. Okay, and you have like pretty good proportions too. And here again, like pretty good proportions. Everything seems to be in check. One thing I wanted to definitely talk about with this piece is the fact that when you can like barely see the other nostril, that's what we call a Phineas nose. And that's when you actually like remove like the other side and you just like keep it like this. So instead of like, see how we like struggle to like put in this nostril in here, the solution would be to just like get rid of this this little cousin nose and just simplify it into like just one, like just this. Okay. And then as for the actual like stuff on this face, it's like I think you have like great shapes for the eyes, Elsie. It was just that it kind of looked a little bit like unconfident, a little bit faded. So what I did is like I just went over your eyes. So I make sure that this one is like a little bit longer and then like this one is coming from beneath it. I made sure to kind of copy, like there's like this really like sharp angle happening in here. So I tried capturing that, and on the other side as well, like just making this a little bit longer to show the overlap like that. Then I feel like you have something about your lines. It's like everything feels really like rounded. Like you know how like we have curvy versus straight, and I feel like you're very much like leaning more towards like curvy right now. So it's like your lines could use a little bit more tapering. So like as you can see in here, I like chopped off a little bit of that, so the line is a little bit sharper. Did the same in here for like this nostril. Like I just sculpted it, so instead of being like so thick and like kind of just like instead of like having like a build-up line, I did what we call like tapering, so it's like sharper at the end, and it's the same idea that I did in here for like the upper eyelid, just like a little bit sharper, you know, like sharpening stuff. Then I think you can work a little bit on your nostrils. I think it's like similar in here. So the golden rule for those nostrils is that we pretty much always do like the same shapes for all of them. So it's like this shape, and then like the bottom is rounded, and then we do like this, and then you fill it up, and you kind of like refine it and, you know, adjust it for the reference, but that is like the general shape of this, something like this. Okay, and it can be like different combinations of that, you know, like it can be something like this in like front, and there's just like a lot of combinations, but we like try to stay with like within parameters of like this shape, and you can observe that on like all like the pretty good noses in here. So it's always like some variation of this shape, right? Like, you know, like really like defined top and then like rounded off bottom. Okay, so I think the biggest thing that you can like work on, Elsie, is like obviously like still refining like the subtleties, but I want to see like more tapering in your lines. So more tapering, more like straight lines, more like angularity, because everything is like feeling a little bit curvy right now. Yeah, and then like making your lines have more tapering. Okay, so that's basically what I showed you in here. So like this is like really round and this is like sharper. And I did the same for the ear because your lines were like really thick in here. So again, I will just make them a little bit more tapering and a little bit smaller. Okay, so I hope I didn't overwhelm you too much, Elsie. But that would be few stuff to like work on, because look, like when I changed just like a little bit of like saddle stuff in here, and that would be like ready to go. So if you can get like your work like this level, I think you're gonna be pretty much ready pretty much soon. Because like as I said, you have like great shapes and like great proportions. It's just like pushing it to like this next level. Okay. So great job, Elsie. I really hope that helps. So work on that and I will see you next week. Okay, great job. Next up we have Ravi. And Ravi says, hi Julia. Hope you're doing good. Last time you told me add more build up to the eyes and also to make sure it followed the perspective. I think I overcame those mistakes this time. Don't have any questions what I should focus on next. Thank you. Have a great day. Okay, you're welcome and have a great day too. Okay, and let's see your submission. Okay. Follow the perspective, build up the eyes. Yes, definitely that would be the case. Okay. And this is this week. Yeah, eyes really well built up, so that's great. In here as well. This is really good. Okay. Oh, and this one. Yeah, this one is amazing too. Yeah, I think you're ready, Ravi. This one definitely deserves like a check or something. Because this one, like, literally slaps. All right. Okay, yeah, this one is getting a check. This is really, really good work. So I'm gonna save it for the Discord for people to study. Okay. This one is also really good. But I feel like you kind of make the eyes a little bit more like ovals instead of like circles. So I'm still gonna overpaint it a little bit just to like show you. But I think this is like a small thing, so I think you can definitely try out some lesson 4. Just like look out for those irises, you know, like when somebody has them like kind of circular, I wouldn't like make them oval. So probably a little bit more like this. But this is, as I said, really small change. So just like ovals, circles, ovals, circles. So this is really small, but I'm gonna still save it for the Discord so you can check it out. But yeah, everything else is looking great. So definitely try out some lesson 4, Ravi. So congrats. You're doing amazing. Good luck in lesson 4. All right. Okay. Next up we have Robert. We just drink some water. Oh my god, am I gonna die? Is it just me? But like every time I like drink water from like a nice glass with like my metal straw, I just feel like luxurious, you know? Like I'm rich because this is luxurious. Okay. Jesus, but no cap. Like my mouth is like closing, and my nose is like super runny. I hate allergy. Oh my god. Okay. Anyways, where did I put my pen? Okay. So Robert says, "Hello, Julia. Last week you said for my eyes I should make the iris larger and make the eyebrows more accurate to the reference. I've worked on improving both. Do they need more work or are they good?" Okay, let's take a look at those irises and eyebrows. Okay, we have this one. Let me see last week. Yeah, like pretty cool, but like the irises were a little bit too small and probably need more sculpting for the upper eyelids. And this is this week. Okay, we have this guy. I haven't seen this face in a long time. Okay, and we have this one. Okay, great. Yeah, I think definitely it got better. Like I can see some nice tapering in your eyes, like compared to like this week, last week. This is like so much better. However, for the eyebrows, there's like one trick that I wanna like show you, and it basically is like a eyebrow popsicle. Okay. So this one in here. So when you're drawing an eyebrow, we think about few things. First of all, we think about making sure that the triangle on the eyebrow is like roughly 1/4 of the entire eyebrow. So if you like split it like that, so if we're gonna do it in here, so you have like this and this, and if you like split it in like roughly like equal parts, you want kinda to the triangle to like start around here, and your is kind of starting around here. See, so this is where it should be, and this is where you have it. So that's a cool trick, and that's something that I always keep in mind when I'm like designing my eyebrows. Okay. And then another thing is that the line of the front in here is always longer than this line in here. And what it causes, it's like it creates tapering. So by angling this one a little bit in and keeping this one straight, you get like a tapering effect. And I feel like your eyebrows right now, they're a little bit blocky. So if I were to trace them on the reference in here, I would probably be like, okay, so we have something like this, okay, then like a saddle curve in here, okay, and then like something like that probably for the triangle, and again, like keeping this straight, but then like this is going in. So you kind of have like this going slightly in, and this is like straight there, right? And then the triangle, and if you like split it, you will see that my triangle, well, it's not exactly 1/3, but if we're gonna split it, it's like almost hitting it. So like mine is here, and like here would be like 3/4. And this will leave you with like a really proportionate eyebrow. Okay, so you have 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3, and that's your triangle in here. Okay, and then like this go in like that, and this is straight, and that's a recipe for a really good eyebrows. Okay, so I'm gonna also, oh, not this. Oh my god, why does it keep doing that? Yeah, I want this in here. Okay, so I'm gonna post it to the Discord along with the diagram, so you can check it out, Robert, because I think this is gonna really help you with the eyebrows. Okay. So this is for the eyebrows. So the eyes definitely got better, but now I feel like you should work a little bit on the tapering for the eyebrows and keeping the triangle 1/3. Okay. Yeah. And other than that, I feel like you're still struggling a little bit with the design. So what I can recommend you is like go onto the Discord channel and look at some examples and do like an exact study, like a copy. Because this way you're gonna learn how to like interpret stuff. So like how come like when we have nose like that, we do like this sort of shapes? How come when the nose has like all those like subtleties, like how do we capture that, you know? Because I feel like you're struggling a little bit with that. Because if you look at this guy's nose, like he has some really subtle bumps, and I feel like you're showing them like a little bit too much. So definitely work on your eyebrows, and other than that, check out the Discord and maybe study some example from here to kind of improve on your design. Okay. So I hope that helps, Robert. So just keep going. You're doing really good. Work on the stuff that I mentioned. All right. Great job. Next up, we have Oscar. And Oscar says, "Hi, Julia. Last time you criticized the opening of my mouth, so I work on that. So should I improve on something else, or can I pass to the next lesson?" Okay, Oscar, Ozzy. And we have last week. All right, this one was looking really good. This one, however, like the openings, a little bit messy. Okay, and this is this week. Front guy, and then we have this guy. All right, yeah, this opening in here is like top tier. This is really, really good. Overall, this is a great study. Okay, and then this one. Yeah, and this one is also pretty good, I think. There is some issues with this one, but this one is like a really weird preference. The opening though is really good, so I think you definitely tackled the opening. For this guy, I did this overpaint. So I feel like first of all you kind of gave him like a really like Chad jaw, like it's like almost like going out, and to some extent I understand that he kind of has that going on. But I think like you by accident kind of exaggerated that, so I had to like bring his jaw like a little bit more boyish, a little bit more fag boyish, not that much Chad. Then I feel like he has kind of a weird nose, so I also made sure to kind of make it smaller, because I felt like you made it kind of big and you kind of exaggerated like this bottom in here. Whereas if you look at the reference, actually like the bottom in here is pretty small, like it's not that wide. So I kind of brought some subtlety for this nose. And then lastly, and I think the most important, the eyes. Like look how small your eye in here was. Like I know it can be a little bit confusing because this one is kind of in shadow. But even if something is in shadow, you have like the other eye in light. And based on that, you can judge how big should this one be. And right now, like this one was looking really big and this one was looking small. So all I did is I grabbed this one and the other one and I put them more together. Okay. So that would be the overpaints for this one. How do I? Okay, this is weird. Okay, so I'm gonna save it for the Discord, so you can check it out, Oscar. Yeah, but I feel like this one is pretty good and this one is also pretty good. So just be like extra careful when you're doing your front facing angles, and probably stay away from this guy because he's super weird. Okay, so yeah, Oscar, I think you can also try out some shading, some lesson 4, but keep working on your sketches because as you can see you still have like some subtleties to catch. But I think for now it may be alright to try out some lesson 4, but remember if you go like anywhere like bit like lower than this level, like, you know, you can always come back. So keep it at this level because this is like almost like green check worthy. Okay, so great job, Oscar. Move on to lesson 4. Congrats. Just like keep working on your lines because you're like right at the border. All right, so great job. Keep going. Congratulations. Next up we have Lion. Okay, and Lion says, hi Julia. Last time you told me to do one study and a few eye studies to see if you can let me move to lesson 4. Since my main issue was the iris not being an actual circle. So this time I made sure they are all complete circle by going over them with a circle ruler brush. What? May I please move on to lesson 4 after 8 months? Oh, that sounds a little bit desperate and I don't appreciate this mindset, but I get it. You know, 8 months is a lot. I am really desperate now, XD. Okay, well, we will see. So those are the separate eye studies, and I think they're pretty good, but you were missing some build-up. So if they only had this, like that would be actually perfect. So I'm gonna save it for the Discord so you can take a look at the change Lion. So yeah, I appreciate like the shapes now, but you know, we always build them up a little bit closer to the upper top eyelid like that. So yeah, this, and then we have this guy. Yeah, and I feel like he's looking a little bit angry, so that's not ideal. But if you actually like keep his expression a little bit more neutral, and again, the same thing as I did in there, like build up those irises in here. See, like you need more build up in here and in here. And then really important for this eye, see how you like left it kind of like floating in space like this line. You always want to like connect it to the bottom to kind of like level them out to show the wrapping. Okay, so that's what I did with that. Okay, and then a little change for the nostril because I feel like your nostril was like looking really angular, like rectangular. So I introduced some curves, kind of like on the reference, you know. So this shape is like really flexible. Like you can make it whatever you want, just like make sure that you have like tapering. So like one part is like bigger, the other is like smaller, because in yours it was like kind of equal. So I wanted to introduce that. Okay. So I'm gonna save those changes for the Discord, but yeah, if it's been like 8 months, this is like probably like just like, you know, like it's not like a green check, but I feel like it's enough to maybe try out some shading. So so yeah, congrats Lion. I think you can try out some shading, but like keep working on your sketches. You know, be really careful with those expressions because expression can really ruin your portraits really fast. So make sure you're not angling the eyebrows, but you're keeping them neutral. And a cool trick for like how to always keep your eyebrows neutral is like, remember the good old like basic perspective from the lay-in, right? Like this. So we always try to keep the the top line of the eyebrow in line with the entire perspective, like that. So then in order to create tapering, all you need to do is like angle this in. And this is also what we talk about in this diagram. So like top line follows the perspective of the face, and then the bottom line can be angled. And that's how you get the tapering without creating any expression, okay? And if we did the same for yours, it's like you can see that you have it angled downwards instead of like keeping it neutral. So I'm gonna save it for the Discord as well, so it can help you in the future, because it's really important to neutralize those expressions. Okay, So congrats, but keep working on your lines. This is really important. Okay, but great job. Okay. Next up we have Julian. Okay. And Julian says, hello, I hope you're doing good. This is my first attempt at lesson 3, line weight. I tried 3/4, front, and profile. Let me know what I could work on. Thanks. All right, here's timer. Let's see. So we have this one. And you have really good planes, so that's great. Pretty good proportions too. Okay. Then we have this one. Okay. And then we have this one. Yeah, and I think they definitely are pretty good for the first try because you have pretty good proportions and stuff. But what you're missing a little bit is like the actual line weight, and like obviously like your design still could use some work, but like that's okay because you're just starting. So first thing that like really stuck out to me are actually your eyes. So I feel like you're stylizing them a little bit, making them a little bit bigger than the reference. So if we actually gonna take like an eye from here and put it right next to your eye, I think you can realize that your eyes are kind of like distant cousins of like this eye, right? So what I would recommend you to do, Julian, is like you can even do it like this way, like cut out like the eye and then like do like a really accurate like tracing. So be like, oh, okay, we have like this line, okay, then it kind of like gets a little bit more horizontal like this, and then we have this line. Okay, this is how this eye works. All right, and then you're like, okay, there is a tear duct, and that's how big the tear duct is, so you don't have to wink anything. And then you do like the bottom eyelid, and then you're like, okay, so all that's left is the iris, and you take also some color and you're like, oh, okay, this is the shape of the iris, and like actually there's probably like more of this iris left somewhere in here, but I'm drawing only this part. Okay, and with this analysis, that's how you approach it. You have like everything figured out, and if you like put it on top of yours, like you can see where you like went wrong, right? Because you're like, oh, the iris is too big. Oh my, the entire eye is like a little bit not wide enough. It's like on my tracing it like reaches up to here. Oh, and then the eye is a little bit too opened, you know? And that's how you like kind of spot all those little stuff, like by really like analyzing this stuff. So make sure like when you're tracing, you're really like paying attention, using different colors, because I feel like you have pretty good features from like the get-go, but as always, people struggle a lot with eyes. So because like they require a lot of accuracy. Okay, so I'm gonna save it for the Discord, Julian. And that would be pretty much my biggest feedback, is to like don't wink the eyes, like don't stylize them, don't make the irises bigger, but study the actual shapes on the photo. Okay, so that would be my biggest recommendations. Same in here, like more accurate to the reference with those eyes, but you have pretty good features and proportions, so definitely work on that for next week, and maybe a little bit on the eyebrows. So I think like I explained eyebrows pretty in depth to I think Roberts today on the live stream, so you can rewatch that part of the stream. All of that feedback would also apply to you. All right, so work on your eyes, and work on your eyebrows. Everything else, you're doing pretty good for the first try. So great job, Julian. Keep going, and I will see you next week. Okay, hope that helps. Okay, next up we have Jonah. Okay, and Jonah says, hi Julia, how are you doing? I'm doing pretty good. This week I reduced my line opacity, just like you mentioned. It has gotten better than before, but it's missing some line variety. What do you think? What can I improve on? Thank you very much. I hope you have a great day. Thank you so much, Jonah. We gonna see, and I hope we're gonna have a great day too. Let me look at the chat. All right. Ravisha came, Empires came. Elsie said, thanks, and then like everybody was saying congrats to Ravi. And Lion says, thank you. Yeah, I had to rush a bit because of finals, but I'm nearly done, so we'll have more focus on the sketches. Yes, definitely. So that's great. Just take your time. Okay, so that was last time. My studies, your critique. Yeah, definitely lessening the lines a little bit. And this is this week. Okay, and this is this week. Oh, and here the lines actually, yeah, this is exactly what you should be shooting for, Jonah. Like in here, it's still like kind of the vibe of this study. Oh, because this is actually last week too. Okay, but this is this week. Yeah, this is exactly what you should be doing, Jonah. This is really, really good. Yes, I actually have some overpaints. So in here, the biggest thing is like you kind of gave this guy, but it's great. This is exactly why we have this guy in our pack. This is what we call little teeth effect, So it just kind of looks like the guy has like one teeth and that's it, and he's kind of showing it off. So what you should have done is kind of make this opening a little bit wider, so it just looks like an opening. He's opening his mouth and like showing you like his front teeth or whatever. So when somebody has like really like small opening like that, what you do is like you actually like make it a little bit more like less tall, and then you make it like a little bit wider. So this way you avoid like the little teeth effect, and you actually get like this. So he's just opening his mouth. So that's what I did. And then a little bit for the eyes. Like you just made the irises like a little bit too small, and you were missing a little bit of build-up for the top eyelids. Okay, so see how yours were like really obvious free lines and just looked a little bit too robotic. So I added some more likeness. So I merged pretty much like this line and this line, because you can see on the reference it's also pretty much merged. And then I made the irises a little bit bigger, because they're a little bit bigger on the reference. And yeah, everything else is looking really good. So I think, Jonah, I just want you to like keep working. I want to just see more works with this type of like line quality. Maybe pick like some easier references and stuff, because I feel like you almost got it. I just want to like see you working a little bit on like those subtleties. So like avoiding like little teeth effect, working a little bit on the eyes and like irises. But other than that, this type of lines are like perfect. You have like great like proportions and like pretty good design. So definitely just keep going. I just want to see more works and working on some subtleties. So maybe study something from the Discord, or like just do like easier guys, because he's pretty challenging, but overall you're doing really, really good. So just keep going, and I will see you next week, okay? But this is already really good. Okay. Next up we have Jeffrey. And Jeffrey says, hi Julia. Last week you told me to focus on improving the eye area. Hopefully this week is better, and thanks for your comment. Have a nice day. Okay. So this was last week. Improving the eye area. Okay, yes, definitely. Okay, and this is this week. Yeah, this is definitely better than last week. This is really good, actually. Okay, and then this guy. Yeah, this guy just tends to be a little bit weird. Because he has this thing going on that he doesn't really have like third line. He has kind of like 1 and 2 merged together, and looks a little bit weird if you like push, like forcefully do like the 3 lines. So in my overpaint, I focused mostly on like making the eyes like really close to the reference again. So it's really good that you're using like the 3 lines for your studies, because that's like the base, right? But once you like kind of get more into like lesson 3, you actually can learn that sometimes you can like do just 2 lines, like not always. Usually it's still gonna be 3 lines, but the premise in here is that we do kind of whatever it takes to just like get the shape right. And like it's great to start out with like 3 lines because it's like really clear. But once you have this, you can actually go over your lines and kind of sculpt the shape into whatever you want it to be. So in this case, like I made this more into like 1 line, like that. And for the other eye, you kind of had it, but really important is like showing that this is like rapid. So I kind of pushed this lower and show that this is coming out. So that would be the changes. Another really important thing that I want you to understand is that this lip in here, that would be a great thing to do if this was like a front-facing angles. But since we are in 3/4, you have to account for like the form of the lip. So this is no longer just doing this, but you have to think that this is like the form of the lips, and in here it's coming out, so it's gonna be this shape. So this is like flattening the form, and this is actually showing that it's like a tube, like that. So those are those little things that you kind of have to understand to push your designs to like next level. So this lips a little bit, you know, the eyes, making them more like the reference. Then like observing the hairline. Like a lot of people like ignore kind of the actual hairline of the model. But if we actually like trace it, like it's so clear that it's literally this, and then it goes into that. And look what you did. You have like kind of something like that. So they're like really not related. So hairline is also something that adds likeness to your painting. So don't dismiss that. So I'm gonna save this to the Discord. So I think, Jeffrey, you have like solid base, but really like you need to like start paying attention to every single detail on the reference. Like really, you know, treating the hairline as like a frame for the face, you know, looking at the eyes and exactly at the shapes, thinking about the form of the lips in here, okay? So that would be some stuff to work on, and those are the stuff that we call subtleties. And the easiest way to like get the subtleties is to go onto the Discord and study some good examples, because good examples already have those subtleties like figured out. So you can just like look at this and like that and be like, oh, that's how you do this kind of nose. This is how you do this kind of lips. And I think it's gonna be really, really helpful. Okay, so work on that, Jeffrey. I think you definitely improved a lot from last week. But I think you just need like a little bit more practice and a little bit more experience. All right. Okay. So that would be it for you, Jeffrey. Great job. A lot of improvement already, but those are like kind of the stuff you should work on. So do that, and I will see you next week. All right. Okay. And Prebisha says, congrats Lion, I know how it feels to be stuck at the same level forever. Oh, okay. Well, it just like takes however it takes, you know? Eventually you're just gonna get there and it's all gonna work out. Like how we had like Ravi like getting it today randomly. I don't really know what would be like my biggest advice into like those frustrations, but it's just like this is like kind of the hardest lesson. Like every lesson after lesson 3 is like kind of getting easier, you know, because in here you really have to like develop like your base. Like this is your base, because the way your sketch look like, it's pretty much gonna directly translate into how your final looks like. So we as coaches, we are always like really hard on the sketches, because if you don't have it like figured out, it's gonna be like stacking like mistakes on top of mistakes, and it's just gonna be really hard to like smooth it out in like the latest stages. So that's why we have to be really diligent in here. Like some people like work it out with shading, some people don't. So because like we don't want to risk you guys having like bad portraits at the end and like struggling in shading, that's why we kind of go hard. But you know, it's all for your own good. And I think if you're gonna talk to anyone that's like in higher lessons, they're gonna like tell you, yeah, sketches do be kind of important. You know. Okay. And then Lucky May says, hi, just sorry to interrupt you. I think we had another overpaint from last week. I would be able to see it. Yeah, I actually did it before the stream. But since like I realized now that this is also last week, so it's like not worth it. But it was just like a tweak for the eye. Because it was like he was looking a little bit annoyed. So I tweaked the eye a little bit, raise the eyebrow so he doesn't look so annoyed, and then again, as I just mentioned to I think Jeffrey, hairlines, guys, like hairline is so important. Like this is some different guy's hairline, like he has it like so angular, like boom boom boom. So that's what I brought in here. I can also save it for the Discord if you're interested. Alright. Hello, someone say. Oh, so far my Photoshop froze. What the heck? Okay, I don't know what's going on in here, but I'm just gonna save it. Okay. Lastly, we have Alba. Alright. Alba says, hello, Julia. Last week you told me my lines were too dark and that I need to fade the planes underneath the design. Some subtleties were also wrong. I feel like this week I understood the concepts of lesson 3 more. Let me know what you think and how could I improve the quality of my lines. Have a great week ahead. Alright, thank you so much, Alba. Have a great week ahead too. Okay, and you're welcome. So let's see. So that was last week. Yes. Pretty cool, but like definitely, oh yes, it's fading away a little bit of those planes and probably working a little bit on irises, and other than that was looking pretty solid. And this is this week. Yeah, and I think this one is actually looking really good, Alba. But what we can talk about, I still feel like you have something to your lines that they look pretty good, but at the same time they look a little bit stiff. So I think what I would like recommend you is like kind of fade away some lines. Like for the bridge, I think I would like fade it a little bit, and like look for the mouth in here. We always talk about that you should be able to like introduce like a little bit of like a V. So even if you have to like force it sometimes, oh my god, I'm sorry, my nose just dying. Even if you have to force it a little bit, it's like super cool to have it because it actually shows like, you know, the overlap of the lip. So I would have a little bit of this V in here, like that. And then, like, as we know, the planes go like this from the V, like that. And that's pretty cool. Okay. Then like this line in here for the bottom of the nose, like this is also like plain line. Like it can be a little bit darker, but I wouldn't like leave it like as dark as the nostrils, because it's gonna make it look a little bit stiff. Okay, so like this. Then as we know, the top of the eyebrows is gonna be a little bit lighter, and the bottom is a little bit darker, like that. Okay. And you can see that with those like smaller changes, also the top wing a little bit lighter and the bottom a little bit darker. And then like a little bit darker in here. So see how like this looks like kind of like somebody did it with a pen, and this feels more like pencil. Okay. And I would definitely like thicken this up so it doesn't go like so extremely like faded, but it's still visible. Okay, so yeah, that will be some subtleties and like actual line weight. So I think we have like pretty good design, like proportions, and I love the way you're tracing the eyes. It's literally like showing that you know what you're doing. So I'm gonna save it for the Discord. So yeah, Alba, I think you're like almost ready. I would just want you to submit like a front, like a good front and a good side. This is pretty good for like 3/4, but I want to see some consistency. So what I would recommend you, Alba, is like, yeah, work a little bit on like the subtleties in your line weight. Your design is really good, your proportions are really good, but I want to see more work. So I want to see like a front, another 3/4, and like a side. And if they're all gonna be good, then I think you're gonna be ready. But this is looking really good. Just like keep in mind the stuff that I just mentioned. All right. So great job. Hope that helps. Keep going. And yeah, with that, that was everybody. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. And yeah, keep grinding, keep going. Congratulations to everybody who passed today. Everybody else, keep on grinding. And I will see you next week. All right. So great job, guys. Bye bye.